Metal Jesus here, and I am back again with Reggie. How's it going, dude?
Glad to be back, bro. And today, the buying guide is the Game Boy Advance, something you all been waiting for. We're going to talk about hardware, accessories, and games we recommend you buy day one.
Let's take a look. So I'm kind of curious, like, when did you first get the Game Boy Advance?
I got it in the early 2000s, early in my Army career. And my buddy, I had duty the night before, and I was really tired. So I said, hey, wake me up when you're going to leave.
Yeah.
And he comes and knocks on my door once and then just dips out on the sleep. So
he like taps lightly and like runs away.
Like, come on. So he got his, and I got mine like a week later, and I was pretty amazed with the system. I was like, this is like a Super Nintendo on the go, pretty much. I always thought of the system as a sequel to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, I didn't get the first model, which this is the first model right here.
Yep, purple.
So, and it's purple, right?
Yep.
I don't know why I didn't pick this up. I think because for me, when this first came out, because the screen wasn't backlit, it was a bit of a turnoff. Yeah,
because you think about now, they would have a backlit, well, you know, with the regular Game Boy, then up to the Game Boy Color,
right?
Backlit.
Yeah, and maybe just the technology wasn't there, or maybe Nintendo was concerned about battery life, probably. But so I skipped the first model.
Yeah. But they did add the accessory where a worm light where you could attach to the top.
A lot of people own those, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. So what do you think about the first model here? I mean, it's
the first model is pretty awesome. I got a lot of joy out of that system. I mean, it feels good on the hands. You know, the controls and everything, and the top buttons and everything.
Yep.
It's not too complicated, which is great. You know, it's a really cool system. Very unique.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic for a reason, right?
Definitely.
And it was also really powerful and had a ton of really great games, which we're going to get into in a second here. So this is the first model, and just so you guys know, there are a ton of different colors and varieties for every model of the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
We have a couple here. So we have this one. We borrowed this from Joe, right?
Yep, Crazy Joe.
Crazy Joe. So our buddy Crazy Joe came... he basically helped us out with this video quite a bit because he bought a lot of these on Craigslist back in the day.
Yeah, he got had a whole drawer full of them, so it was pretty awesome. Like, see a lot of stuff because I haven't seen a lot of these colors in a long time. I know. I forgot about them. And another one we have here is a white edition, which I never
with these big handles, which actually I would love. That they had a lot of accessories like that where you could put big handles on.
Yeah, it makes it really cool, like the grip and everything. So you know. Driving game or something like that.
I've never seen a white one before.
This is my first time seeing it too, so that's pretty cool. I had no idea that existed.
And then one of the more collectible ones is this Pokemon New York edition.
Only New York?
Well, I think they basically sold it at the Pokemon Center in New York. I don't know all the specifics of this. I literally bought this from a little girl at a garage sale for like $1 or $2.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And so it's a beautiful, original Game Boy. So
yeah, it looks really cool.
But there are a bunch of them out there, and so we'll kind of show some of these on the screen, some of the more collectible ones. But it wasn't until the SP came out when I jumped in, because that was the one where I was like, so the SP is this one right here. So
yeah, SP really is very unique because it doesn't even look like a video game.
It looks like a laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a mid '90s to 2000 laptop.
I was actually flying on the plane once, and this lady sat next to me, and she thought like, that's a small laptop. Said, no, it's a game system. She was like really amazed by it. So they really did a unique job, like switching to that format.
Well, the thing I like about it, and the reason why laptops do this, is because it protects the screen, right? So again, you can pop this in your pocket and you can just go with it. It's perfect.
Yeah, nothing getting scratched up, like no screen getting scratched up at least.
The other thing is that it has a rechargeable battery as well, which I really loved.
And it lasts a long time, actually. Like, yeah, I was pretty impressed. I think it could last up to 8 to 10 hours, maybe.
I mean, it lasted quite a while for us because we took a road trip when I first got this from Seattle all the way down to LA.
Right.
And, that's a 2-day trip. And I maybe charged it, at the end of the day, but I played it constantly. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's important to know there are 2 models of these, right?
Yes. That is the 100 series, and the one that's backlit that has the extra brighter light is the 101 series, which is here's an example of one right here.
Yes,
this is a turquoise blue one.
Now the thing is that on video it may not seem quite as much of a difference. Like when you see, I've done this in other videos where I've shown, you know, a regular SP and then the 101.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, what's the big deal? No, trust me, there is a huge deal. For one thing, and this is kind of a little trick, every time you turn on the 101, it's not in its brightest mode. You actually have to tap it once more and then it's bright. But this is the one I recommend everyone get.
Yeah, definitely. You'll get the best screen ever out of this one. I mean, it looks crisp. So
yeah, it really does. And as far as sort of collectible ones, I wanted this one so badly because there's really not a ton of sort of special edition ones of the 101, but the SpongeBob SquarePants one was the one that I definitely wanted to get.
Very cool.
It's awesome, you know? I reached out to a vendor who was working in Portland, and he hooked me up with this. So
that's very cool.
Great condition, but it's just an awesome.
So you're a SpongeBob fan, right?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's a hilarious show. So but this is definitely cool. And then there's a final one, right?
The final one, yeah. And this one is kind of weird because I didn't think it would, like, you would think, why would they make this one?
When this first one came out, I was like, what's the point?
The micro edition. Now, when I worked at GameStop, I remember I was a greeter and they had me have a keychain and they put this around and I had to tell people about the system. So
okay.
Like, how am I going to sell this to anybody? I was like, man, because I didn't think anybody would want it because the SP is like considered the best one. Yeah.
Right?
So, but this one has a really good screen on it.
It does.
Better than any of the other systems on it. Even though it's really small, I mean, the screen on this one is amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
it's an interesting version of the Game Boy because I don't think anyone was really asking for it, but they did it anyways.
yeah, they just had these quirky ideas.
Yeah. But one of the cool things about that one is that it had faceplates that you can basically swap out. So you could kind of customize it a little bit, which is pretty neat, right? All right, so let's talk about some of the accessories. You have a couple here.
Yep. First off is the Game Boy. Well, this is the AC adapter, which so you can play it just in case you don't have any batteries or whatever you want to keep the game going.
So the wireless adapter came with my copy of Pokemon Fire Red.
Nice. And
this was a pretty cool thing at the time because while you did have the link cable to go between physical connections here, but the wireless was pretty interesting because it came with the game.
Yeah.
And what was cool about it is that it would pick up anybody who was around, I think, 10 feet of you or something like that. And, again, this is pretty advanced at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember in Pokemon specifically, you could have 30 people in your game in this, like, little conference room in the... Yeah, like, there's, like, a little room in the game that people can hang out and stuff like that.
That's really cool. Like, that's kind of like how they do it online now.
Yeah, exactly. But again, this was
that was the start of it.
Yeah, totally. So
very cool.
And then this right here, I have done a little bit with. So this is the GameCube adapter or link cable.
Right, and a couple games I know that's compatible with is the Zelda Four Swords game.
Right.
If you have three, or I think it's 3 Game Boy Advance systems, you could play linked up kind of like with the system, like you can see certain stuff on the screen, and like if you open a door, it'll show you going into the room or a map or something like that. It's really cool.
That's interesting that Nintendo did that because that is a little bit of a precursor to the DS.
Yes, exactly.
So. That's interesting because where I used this was in a Pac-Man game. So
the Pac-Man game. Yeah.
There's this awesome Pac-Man game on the GameCube where one of you can be the ghost, or the others are the ghost, and one of you is Pac-Man.
Yep, chasing you.
Yeah, it's really cool. So not a lot of games use these things, but the ones that do are pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a great idea with it, and they kind of like really advanced with it with the DS system, so cool.
Now, a couple other accessories that we don't have. I tried to find one, and that is the EReader.
The EReader, wow, I forgot about that system.
I know!
Wow, dude.
Did you own one?
I owned one actually not too long ago, and I got rid of it a year ago because I figured like...
Well, so tell people what the EReader was.
The EReader is basically like an adapter where you hook it onto the system and you can add extra levels on the games. Like you had to slide the card in.
Yeah.
Like maybe like slide it in one way or... No, you had to slide it in one card and slide it in another one just so you get the full game.
Yeah.
And then play it like that. Some games were just add-ons to like certain games levels and stuff like that. And other games were just like just regular like Donkey Kong 3 or Donkey Kong Kong, the old school Donkey Kong.
Yeah, like I think maybe Excite Bike was one of the cards that you could get, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was really cool system. It's just nobody wants to do all that when they want to start a game.
Yeah, because I mean, what's interesting about the e-reader cards is that the data is actually on the card, right? So it's not unlocking something within the system. No, it's actually reading the data from it.
Yeah,
and that's why some of them would have either both sides, or they would have multiple cards that you're sitting there scanning to load in the data.
One game I did like on there was it added extra levels to Super Mario Brothers 3, which were really cool. That was my favorite one, and that came packed in with Mario Advance 3, I think it was Mario Advance 4 or 3.
Yeah,
one of them was Super Mario Bros. 3, and it came with those cards. So that was like the introduction to those e-reader cards.
Yeah, but it never really took off. But
no,
you know, there are people out there that collect them, so kind of be aware.
It's cool for a little while, I can say that. So yeah. So one thing else we want to mention is that the Game Boy Advance also plays Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Now I have one here. I recommend playing something else besides this, but but it is good that it does that. You know, some of the games stick out a little bit, but it still looks great on the screen. So
yeah,
that's one great thing.
You're
about
not a Pokemon fan. You just pissed off half the viewers.
I'm sorry, guys. I just
not your thing.
I tried to like it. It's just like, ugh.
Honestly, I was the same way. I had Fire Red, as I mentioned earlier, and you know, I like a little bit more story in my games, and so it's important for you guys to know that. So, for instance, in this video, this part of the video here, we're not going to list any Pokemon Fire, blah blah, you know, none of that stuff. So, but these are games that we think that pretty much anybody can go out and buy. These are really, really cool. So
now a lot of these games are like complete in box. So what we recommend is that you guys go for the carts because they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
getting in box is just for specific types of folks. That, you know, it's really expensive. So
well, it's a good point to mention is that originally most, if not all, these came in cardboard boxes like this. And so, and I remember when I was buying it, I threw them out. I just recycled them. I was, you know, this is before I was seriously collecting, you know. What do I need all this for, right? You know, and so I'm regretting that big time now because of all the awesome games I bought, right? But it's important to know that, you will pay a serious premium for a complete in-box game that survived this long. So. Yeah,
seriously. I mean, a lot of the games, it seems like they're going for more than the Nintendo ones. NES in boxes, like they're that unique. So.
That's true. But that's a testament to how good some of these games are. So since I'm holding this, I'm going to start here, which is pretty funny. I typically don't like sports games, but I really love the Tony Hawk series. And what I love about it on the Game Boy Advance is that it's its own thing. That it doesn't try to emulate the 3D environment of the consoles. This is you mentioned it reminds you of.
It reminds me of the game 720. Yeah, I remember that back in the day. They probably had a whole different team work on the portable edition, and they came out with that. So that's pretty awesome.
Fantastic games.
So did it kind of remind you of the 720 when you played it?
Yeah.
Besides the bees chasing you and the time limit.
That's right, man. You know, it's funny because I suck at 720, but I'm really good at this.
Oh yeah.
And actually, so this really reminds me of Tony Hawk. I mean, it feels very similar in the speed at which your character does all the moves. A lot of the moves feel very, it's tied to the consoles in that way where it's a very sort of serious kind of arcadey whatever. You know, skating
so
game.
It does feel arcadey in a way.
Yeah, but the difference is that again it's isometric, and so but it's pseudo 3D as well because your character is kind of in 3D. I don't know, they're just really well made and they're super fun. If someone is burned out on Tony Hawk or they haven't played it in a while, honestly I'll tell them, hey, go to this version because this is pretty cool. And so this is the second one and the third one. So they made a bunch of them and they're cheap.
That's what we want.
Cheap is good.
So here's a game I recommend for if you're going to get a Game Boy Advance, the Castlevania games. Now this is just one of them here. This is This is not Circle of the Moon. This is a Harmony of Dissonance. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but this is the second game in the series. There's Circle of the Moon and there's Aerial of Sorrow, which is the third game. Both were excellent games. They're both like what you would call. We call Metroid Mania, type games. So very
2D
cool.
platformers with puzzle and fighting.
And you're making your own map. You're finding areas and stuff like that. Very cool game. I recommend that.
A lot of people love them on that system. So here's one that I loved. Oh my god, I love this game so much. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I can't tell you how much I fell in love with this game.
See, like hearing you talk about it now, I feel bad because I had it and I just recently sold it, and now tell me what I'm missing.
Well, so many things. So first of all, I like this game because it's a turn-based RPG basically. So, but it's so the combat is very time based, and they've done a bunch of these since then. But this was the first one I ever played where literally, it's all timing based, it's turn based. You level up Mario and Luigi, and the humor in this game is so funny. So it's very innocent kind of humor, But I loved it. I played and beat it, and actually the other day I was capturing footage for this video, and I got sucked into it again. I was like, because I hadn't played it so many years, So
nice, man.
I just think it's an absolute classic and a must buy. So
maybe I'll track it down again.
You should. I mean, I don't think it's super expensive, but yeah, it's worth it.
All right, next game is 2 games, the Golden Sun series. Wow, this game was amazing when I first played it.
I love these games.
Yeah, this game pretty much came out pretty much early in the life cycle of the system, so this was the RPG to go to on the system.
Looked great, played awesome.
Yeah, great music, all the good stuff that make you love an RPG. Great story. The battle system is turn-based, of course. Not too gimmicky.
But it has a cool look.
It has a cool view too, like a cinematic view. Like you see your characters ready, on the side.
Yeah, and it's almost like the camera turns. But again, it's running super well. Plus, I like the magic effects. Again for the Game Boy Advance, man, they were really cool looking on that screen.
Yeah, it showed you how strong the system was.
Yeah.
I mean, people thought it wasn't as strong as Super Nintendo. This proved, I think it is stronger than Super, possibly.
Probably, I think
Certain
so.
ways.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit of a bump.
But anyway, very cool game, a must-have for the system.
Definitely. So here's a game. We knew we had to put a Zelda on the system.
Yeah.
And I played this game for a while. This is Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. Didn't beat it though, but I really enjoyed it when I played it.
Yeah, this one is very, very cool. This was the first Zelda I noticed that was kind of story-oriented from the beginning. Like, you wake up, your uncle wakes you up, Princess Zelda comes to your house, you're going to the castle for a carnival. Yeah. It really picks up. You're like, whoa, this is really cool. So I like that one a lot. This one is considered a short Zelda game, but for a portable system, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
Short and sweet.
Also, you might notice here that this is an unusual clamshell here. And so what I've done, and we kind of want to mention this, which is nice for collectors, this is a Nintendo DS case. And so I actually got this from GameStop. They blew out a bunch of these. But most people don't know that the DS had a little slot for the Game Boy Advance.
Yep.
And these would be really handy. So I just printed off my own cover here, and it looks great.
And I recommend these for people, that want to have their games uniform. You don't collect. I mean, collecting in box we know is expensive. So the best way to do it is to custom like this and have your stuff uniform, and it'll still look great.
It lasts forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Very sturdy.
All right, next. Oh wow, another one I love. Gunstar Superheroes. This is the sequel to the Genesis game. And I consider this one to be far superior to that one, man. Have you played it yet?
Oh, dude. Again, this week I'm capturing footage for this video. And I put this in, and I played it before, but it's been a while. I was like immediately, stuff blows up all over the place. You're running, you're jumping, you're shooting.
I know. There's
awesome.
there's no slowdown or anything. I mean, the action really keeps pace, and it's amazing. I mean, the game is so much fun. I mean, it's pretty much, it has a lot of different stuff to it. Like for one level, you could be standing on top of an airplane shooting stuff.
That's right.
Spinning around. One level is running gun and stuff like that. There's one level which is one of my favorites called the Gauntlet, where it shows all the bosses watching you on the screen while you're playing the game, and each one comes after you. Like when you beat one, it's really serious action. So I definitely recommend it. The game costs if you get it just the cart only, it's going to be $10, maybe 15 at the most.
Yeah.
Hopefully not by the end of this video, it won't be skyrocketing the price or nothing like that.
Okay, so that's Gunstar Heroes.
Yep.
These next two though I haven't played, so you're gonna have to talk about those.
Okay. Double Dragon Advance.
You love your fighting games.
I do. Double Dragon Advance is pretty much they kind of mix the story of part 1 and 2 together in a way, certain elements. But this is pretty much the ultimate Double Dragon game. They added a lot of moves to it. There's a 2-player mode, which is weird. There's a regular 2-player mode where you link up with somebody. There's a second 2-player mode where you control both characters, which is very odd.
Wow.
I mean, you take turns controlling the character on the screen, but there's so much action going on, it's really difficult to do. I don't know why they added that. But this, instead of 4 levels like the original had, this one adds a total, I think, around 8 or 9 levels. And it's just really cool. I mean, you could really do some crazy combos in this game. Super uppercut, headbutt, stomping on your enemy, like Bruce Lee stomp type. It's pretty crazy. So
you love your fighters on the Game Boy Advance. Like Guilty Gear is another one that you just loved. Huh?
And that's on the Game Boy Advance too, man.
I know.
So, yeah, awesome. Next one, Okay.
I haven't played these. I know. I need to get these.
The Kirby series. Yeah. Now, Kirby's where is it? Kirby's Dreamland, Nightmare in Dreamland. This is a remake of the Game Boy one. So I'll talk more about Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. This game's insane. Like
I've heard that.
Yeah, you control. Well, basically, there's 4 Kirbys, and you could like call in the other Kirbys and help you out on the level. Like they could come and help you on a boss.
Oh yeah.
Help you in a certain area, and they come out like crazy. Like,
almost like wrestling style, right?
Yeah, it's like it looks insanely good. I consider this one of the best Kirby games out there. And yeah, man.
I like how Nintendo mixes up the Kirby games and kind of will do some different stuff.
Yeah,
like on the Wii. Remember they had like the one with yarn and stuff.
Yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah.
But this one, wow, Amazing Mirror. Definitely pick this one up. Pick both of them up.
I might be doing that actually
as soon as possible.
That's cool. So next up, you have both of the Advance Wars games here.
Yeah.
I got sucked into these as well. I think these are fantastic.
If you play this game, you'll get sucked in it immediately. It's weird. Like I had no idea that I was going to be playing as long as I did. I only planned on playing for like 10 minutes.
Right.
Ended up like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, man, this game is pretty.
Well, I think what I like about these games is that they're military strategy games, right? But they're Nintendo-ish style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they're kind of fun characters, they're anime kind of characters, and they're not too serious.
They're not. But one thing I noticed was really cool about this game: when you're going against your enemy, each turn takes a day. So the day changes. Like it could get all icy and everything the next day, and certain platforms might block where you were going to go before. Yeah. So it's really unique like that. It's so much fun. And then when you attack your enemy, it always shows a close up of the battle. It shows your character's reaction to how they do in the battle. It's like hilarious. But
yeah, that's true.
Very fun game. Very addictive. Yes, day one. Get these.
Now, just so you know, we had a little bit of a discussion as to whether to include this or the Fire Emblem games that were on here, and in a lot of ways they're similar games. So just be aware that if you like this kind of game, definitely go get the Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance because it's good too. So.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, we're down to a couple last ones. Okay. Metal Slug Advance.
Dude, Metal Slug on any system.
Yes, definitely, man. This one is really cool. This is like I would say like the Metal Slug characters, they have like soldiers in training. So you play as the soldiers in training, and they get out from boot camp. They send them right to war. It's hilarious, really good. But this one, you don't die immediately. You have a life bar, and you can collect food and build your life bar back up when you take damage, which is really cool. So pretty much the game is the same as any other Metal Slug game. It's only one player, but that's fine,
Right.
But what can I say? It's pretty much Metal Slug run and gun action, and it's a must-have for the system.
I don't have that, so I'm gonna have to get that. All right.
And it's cheap too.
Is it?
It's still it's cheap.
All right.
I mean, I hope so.
And then finally, so the Metroid games on the Game Boy Advance, and this is funny too because when Reggie showed up, I was like, zero mission. I love this game, and you're like, no, Fusion. So we basically decided here we go. You can hold that one.
There we go. Well, I'll tell you why I like Fusion. I haven't played Metroid Zero all the way through, but I know it's a remake of the first one. But Fusion was tense because my buddy Nick, he told me about the game and he told me about some stuff in it. And there's another Metroid in the game that kind of stalks you.
Oh, that's right. It's pretty
terrifying.
I remember that. That was pretty cool.
It comes at you randomly sometimes too. So you cannot fight this thing because it will tear you apart. You have to run basically. So you have to.
That's right.
It has tense moments like that, and it's really like fun. Like I thought that was amazing, especially if you're playing with your headphones in your ear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing on the TV,
That's right. Okay, so I remember that.
You remember?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, the graphics are a little bit different in that game than this one, and which is kind of cool that they both games kind of exist as their own. So, as he mentioned, this is a remake of the original NES version, and what's cool about this is that it comes with the NES version on it, and so it's pretty neat because
wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's there, so you can actually play the original NES version, and you can see. You can't switch back and forth, but you can start from the menu. I don't know if you have to unlock it or not. It's been so long. I beat this game many times, but
that's cool that they did that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you can actually see, this is what they changed.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that is that they changed a lot. This is such a great version of it. Just a fantastic game. I know I've been saying this a lot, but I've been capturing footage this week. Way too many hours put back into Metroid Zero Mission.
Nice, man.
Yeah, but I do love it. It's one of my all-time favorite games. So.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be one of mine too now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I need to go back.
After I finish Fusion, though, I haven't finished it yet.
I haven't finished Fusion, and I need to do that because there's always two camps. There's people who, I think it just depends what you started at. Yeah. I started with this one, and then when that, I don't know if that one came out after or before.
This one was first. That was after.
Okay,
yeah.
And it must have been because I picked up my SP after as well. It was later on its life. So.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so
you think it's weird that I started Fusion first, the first Metroid game?
No, because I think that was an all original game, and so it makes sense, right? Because you probably played the original Metroid. I didn't.
Okay.
So for me, this was all brand new and shiny. So, all right, guys. Well, that is our buying guide for the Game Boy Advance. But today, while you're here, we're actually going to also shoot a Hidden Gems video, and so because he brought a ton of games that a lot of people haven't heard about, but we think are pretty awesome. I'm going to also add some of my own, so it's going to be pretty cool. So you guys are going to definitely want to check that out. We'd also like to know down in the comments what games you would recommend first-time Game Boy Advance buyers get.
Yeah, we already know you're going to say Mario Advance, so something else.
There's a bunch of them, and just so you guys know, behind us here, we could have picked a ton of them.
Yeah.
And even also, there's homebrews and there's reproductions. There's all these sort of stuff, like Mother 3.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, man. Okay.
That'd be good to include. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care. If you like this buying guide, you might like another one that Reggie and I did for the PSP. Yes, Sony's little handheld that could. We did an awesome buying guide on that. We've also done a bunch of Hidden Gems videos and stuff like that. Also, he and I have done some really fun pickups videos too. And we got a bunch more coming down the pipe, so you're definitely going to want to be subscribed to my channel because I have new videos every single week. Thanks for watching.